Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. Today we're going to talk about the little subtleties that over time drive us crazy, why we get so confused, and kind of the pattern of the way that the narcissist talks to us. So I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened to me today. It does relate to narcissism. So if you'll bear with me, it has to do with a possibly a transgender gender or cross-dresser, but it's not about that. It's about the word pattern. So I had gone to a roller derby competition today, and my friend had mentioned something about this woman, and he kind of thought that it was post-surgery female from a male. And just out of curiosity, that was a little clothing stand, so I decided to walk up to her. I wasn't going to directly ask her, but he had mentioned that her voice sounded deeper. She's also 6'5". Now I'm 6'1", so you can't just assume she's really tall. So it must have been because of surgery, because I'm genetically, anatomically female. I'm just 6'1", so you can't just assume that. So I'm talking to her. Her voice is a little bit deeper, and she had on these like latex pants that were like super shiny, kind of cool, a little bit different. And she kind of dressed a little eccentric. Some people do. You can't judge them on that. It was a cool outfit. It's more like a bar outfit. But I'm talking to her about pant length because I am so tall, trying to relate to her, just talk to her, kind of find out. And I had mentioned her pants, and she had said, it makes me feel pretty when I wear these. And if I were to say it, I would have used a different word pattern. I would have said, I feel pretty when I wear these. And I could be completely wrong. But she is 6'5". Her foot size looks like 15, 16 male. I wear a size 9 or 10 female, which is like a size 7. So I'm just a little shorter, about 4 inches shorter, and a huge difference in feet patterns, all that stuff. So when we talk with our narcissists, the word patterns that they use might be a slight key to if they are narcissistic or not. So I don't have complete confirmation on whether that was a male post-surgery or just dressing like a female. Just like our narcissists, we have to kind of weed through, look at all the different things that are going on to kind of, we're not psychiatrists. We can't succinctly, definitively diagnose them. We just have to know what's in our heart. So it doesn't matter if it was a male or female. It's just a curiosity thing. But the word pattern kind of stuck out to me. It could be where I anatomically am female. I could say it makes me feel pretty to wear red. It makes me feel pretty to wear a barrette. There are times you can say that. So I can't definitely say she's not a female. She's post-surgery, or however you want to word it to be politically correct if I said it the wrong way. But it was just an odd word pattern. So based on the way she said it, it's a higher chance she is male or was male. So my ex, who was also a state cop, would use psychological tricks on criminals, but he also used it on myself. So let's say he wanted to know if I ate the last steak that's in the refrigerator. Instead of making it confrontational or threatening to me and saying, did you eat the last steak, to where there's a chance I could be like, oh, I think you wanted it, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to take the blame. So he would say something like, did you enjoy the lasagna last night for dinner? And I'd be like, I didn't have the lasagna, I had steak. So I just kind of answered his question when he asked a different question. So not only was he narcissistic, he also knew how to use word tricks. There's psychological reasons that people use certain word patterns when they're educated. Just like these narcissists, they start to educate themselves on how to get the answers that they want. So my ex, I could be thinking he's talking about lasagna. He knows he's not talking about that. He wants to know about the steak. He wants a certain outcome, the truth about the steak, just like our narcissists want the outcome their way. So that's where the manipulation comes in, the word patterns, just little clues on the way they say things. And over time, we start looking at things like, my ex had wanted me to wear red nail polish, and I wore real red. And just like the anger that he got off of the fact that I followed what he wanted. I bought the real red, and they twist things around. And I know I got a little off topic, but they will put things back on you that you made a big mistake when you followed what they asked, and that gets really frustrating. The way that they word things um, can be like, "Oh, I don't like you in that dress." It kind of like hurts us in a way, so we start to feel self-conscious, instead of uh, using a little bit more positive ways that they talk to us. They slowly cut down our self-confidence. They feel that they should control what we look like, uh, so they're not embarrassed. And as you go through life with a narcissist, just pay real close attention to the words that they say, because it's just little subtle things. Just like that woman I talked to, that might have been a clue. It probably was. Um, it makes me feel pretty is different in my opinion. Um, because I would have said, and I went out to the bar after, I asked a woman, how would you say? Would you say it makes me feel pretty to wear these pants, or would you say I feel pretty wearing these pants? Sometimes men and women talk differently. She's probably talking possibly as a man, saying that as a man who wanted to feel pretty as a woman. Um, so it kind of like messes with our minds. Like, am I nitpicking too much on things, or am I seeing narcissistic things in my relationship? Because sometimes we say things the wrong way just because we're just kind of like not thinking or blurting it out. And sometimes we pick up narcissistic tendencies ourselves. But pay attention to if they answer direct questions, if they take responsibility for any mishaps that they might have done. Are they empathetic? Do they think ahead about what might hurt your feelings? Are they concerned that their actions might affect you? Are they able to think instead of, and they're very spontaneous in what they want to do. They want it now. They don't like the downtime. They always have to keep busy. So in the quiet times, do you notice, is that when things get stirred up? Um, or does it progress over time and then it blows up? Um, do we feel like we're walking on eggshells? There's a lot of reasons we start to walk on eggshells just because of those little tiny things, where now if they said, they didn't like that dress on us, now we're starting to like overthink things. Like, I don't want him to think I'm ugly or not paying attention to his comments, or so we're starting to walk on eggshells to make them happy. Sometimes we need to be bold as well, though, just say, well, this is what I'm wearing today. Because when we start to allow them to devalue us, we're letting them at the same time. And sometimes it gets scary because we feel, because they are so easy to just punish us, for making them reflect in on what they said, or that they don't have control over the situation. They'll turn it around on us like, didn't I tell you that was ugly? Didn't I tell you this? Like, we're just supposed to listen as opposed to stand up for our rights. So just be careful of the subtle ways that they talk to us. And that's why it can blindside us. Like, how did this get so bad? Because if you ask a direct question, sometimes people go off on their tangents, but if you try to redirect it to a specific yes or no, and they turn it around, now all of a sudden there's something with us, where we're not allowed to ask a simple question. Um, sometimes to survive in a narcissistic relationship, you do kind of have to play word games, like how my cop ex would purposely, I mean, we didn't have problems communicating. It's just he just knew, after dealing with all these criminals, like, why, let's just cut to the chase, do it the psychological ways just so I get the answer I want. Why even risk the BS that could possibly happen with a criminal or with possibly me? People are people. But the subtle differences on how an empathetic person talks, a lot of times, a lot of times the narcissist will say I. Like, I went on a trip to Florida when they're talking to their buddies, as opposed to we. because sometimes they want to get used to saying the word I, or they are used to saying the word I because they don't want to know about letting people know about a hidden relationship. So if you're the mistress, they don't really want you to know what's going on at home because maybe they're saying that, things aren't going well, but all of a sudden they have this family vacation. So check those I's and we's. There are times they will still say we, like maybe to their kids or their mother. But this is where it gets really confusing. But narcissists have a hard time remembering their lies. Who did they say what to? So pay attention to the way that they might have said, I already told you that. And they didn't because they're telling too many people. They can't keep us and the other supply straight. And if they say it, several times, like they forgot that they told us. They didn't remember the lie because they thought they told it to the other supply. There are different ways to tell how someone is narcissistic. Look at the self-centeredness, the word salad, the turning it around on you, the blame shifting, where if you come kind-heartedly to just ask just a question, they get defensive. Some of that is from childhood, where that's just the way they cope with it, that they instantly go on the defensive. If you look at my teacher video, I had said, like when I'm teaching and I'm just like, oh, Angela, come here. And the kid is like they think they're in trouble and you just want to talk to them, but they're so scared um, for no reason. Like they don't even know what's going on. And when the narcissist is in childlike mental state, they get on the defensive almost instantly, just like that little kid. It's like, and that's what they feel inside. Like, what did I do? What did I do? And they're not mature enough to know that, it's okay to um, have an adult conversation. Sometimes they future fake because, they don't want to tell us no sometimes. Let's say, are we ever going to get married? And they'll say, of course we are. They don't want to hurt our feelings, or they don't want to lose us. So it's kind of like, oh, they don't want to hurt my feelings. Like, that's so sweet. But they end up hurting your life when they do stuff like that, because you can think that you're getting married. So you plan this, you don't date other people, but their intent to keep you happy was so you would keep giving them supply. So it's back on them. It's not because of you. So we're sitting here thinking, how sweet they were, and we try to like bargain or reason on, but he was sweet. He didn't want to hurt my feelings. So we start trying to justify what they did, as opposed to, this jerk just took away my whole future from me. you know like I would have rather cried that you didn't want to marry me, instead of going through years of this, hang in there and I promise, and calling my dad, that, asking for my hand in future, like, when it was all BS. you know um they go through great pains to show you, I'm telling you the truth, when all it is just they didn't want to lose us. So listen to the way they word things. Just like when I talked to that woman, it was just that little tiny little hmm. And if I really bothered me, or if I was really that curious, I'd like, man, there was this one riddle that I listened to, and it was, there's 100 people in a race, and you passed me. What number are you? And the answer is one. But I had thought, like, what? Like, I'm thinking straight line, a straight line race. Like, if you pass me, I'm thinking, what? There's 100 people and you passed me, and you were last in line was the kicker. They were last in line. I'm like maybe 99 because you were but it didn't quite make sense. But what it was is it was a circular track. So when it's a circular track, you pass number 100, you're number one. So sometimes little things like that, where it's not quite answered, or what was the correct answer, we start thinking about it. This is part of where the trauma bond comes in, because it's on our mind. We're like, what is the real answer? What did he mean when he said that? Just like if it mattered to me, I could be like, what did that lady mean when she said it made me the it? Why did she say it? And that's what we start doing when we're thinking about our lover is, why did they say that? Did they mean this? And then we start feeling guilty. Like, I don't want to put this on them if that's not what they are or what they meant. So we start having these floods of emotions. And then it kind of seeps out or bursts out. And then we try to talk to our partner and they take it the wrong way. Everything falls apart. Um, and it's just this vicious cycle because of, you know, if we're comfortable enough to ask them a specific question, we should get a question back. When they ask us questions, it shouldn't be like conniving and tricky. Just to ask if I ate the steak. Don't play games with me. We're always on high alert. This is where the brain damage happens. Is we're on high alert of how do we act. Our brains are overacting on what reality is. What do they mean when they say that? They said they didn't sleep with her. Does that mean that they had sex but they didn't fall asleep? Like, their word choices are very purposeful, because they could say, I told you I didn't sleep with them. And then you're like, okay, but did you have sex? I didn't sleep with them. And it's like, it doesn't answer our question, because we're smart enough to know there's wordplay that can go on, but they take advantage of wordplay. So just be cautious on that. I just thought it was kind of a good analogy. So don't judge on the female. She was male, female, whether I should have been curious, not curious. It was just the point of, sometimes you don't quite know what the answer is. And when you see the signs, the height, the feet, whatever, lower voice, but still, you still can't 100% judge, especially when I'm close to being in that spot where I am 6'1", smaller feet. But so you take that one little thing and you're like, maybe this is the clicker. And we kind of do that with our narcissist. Maybe this is the clicker, the answer. Am I the one that's at fault? Are they at fault? Are we both at fault? What exactly is going on? Why did this fall apart? Is it fixable? So be aware of those subtle things, because they will tell on themselves. They will avoid giving specific answers. And if they over justify, sometimes that can be a red flag. Turning things around on you, projecting onto you. So if you ask them if you cheat, they'll be like, you're the one probably cheating on me. But that doesn't answer the question about if they did, because that was the question at hand. So it gets confusing. And then we feel like, oh, I was a jerk for asking. Yeah, you're right. And then we're on the defensive, and then they get the power because now it's all about us. When in the beginning, we were talking about them. And unanswered questions will eat at you. Just like, that's why I brought up the riddle. Like, it took like 2 or 3 days. Like, what are you talking about? And I didn't think a track race would go in a circle. I just don't go to track meets. I know that they can, but I'm thinking straight line. So just like our relationships, we think straight line, things are this way. But a narcissistic relationship is that circular track. And so the answer is going to be different because we don't realize what track we're running on. We think we're on the straight track and we're on the circular track. And it is a cycle with those narcissists. They'll go round and round, they'll hoover, they'll confuse us. And it is a vicious, vicious cycle. So take the time to look for the red flags. I'll do a more specific video on that. There's so many red flags. And it takes a long time to see exactly what's going on. Just like if you had a glass of water, you took one little drop of green food dye. Can't really tell what color it is. 2 drops, 3, 4, 5. After 6, 7, you start to see the red flags, or the color of that water. So just like the narcissist, as they're adding little poisonous colors into our relationship, we don't see it until it's been saturated. And it's really sad that we have to go through all that abuse before we're like, wow, that is what this is all about. Just like that glass of green water, you're not going to know until it fills and fills and fills with the stuff that changes us. And we can't, we give them a chance. Um, we believed in them because for one, people should be good people. For the next, with the love bombing, um, they're kind of setting up the safety net for us. This is what we are, whether it's friends or lovers or whatever you guys are, that there's a comfort between you guys. And then they just take it away. They don't look back. Um, unless they're missing out on a supply. So if they have a more vibrant supply, more readily available, they might go towards that. They're going to get bored of that, because it's like a drug to them to pull supply. And as they pull like the happy supply, it's going to change into kind of like a boredom with them. Like, that was nice, we had the happy time, now I'm going to pick apart you and frustrate you and feel the adrenaline rush that I get when you get upset. Some of them get a kick out of us crying, and they tell us not to sometimes, but they do feed off of it because they lie about things. Like, it's an ego stroke to them. So even if they say they're frustrated, um, some of them just want the control to shut us up, that they have the control to tell us to, you know, quiet down, go work it out. And the others feed off of that. So they'll purposely pick fights. But in either situation, they're not looking at us. Like, if we were crying, like, why is this person crying? It's either let's make them cry more, or go shut up, I have control over you. But neither one looks at who we are. And how did they talk to us during that time? Was it, you need to stop doing this, you need to you know stop crying, or was it heartfelt? So just pay attention to the way that they talk to you. That's kind of like a little pathway, a little peekaboo, a peek hole into inside their heart to what they really feel. They are very, very self-centered. And I don't know, just maybe comment so we can help each other on some of the word salad or the confusing things, the little subtleties that you've seen in the way that they talk to you. So please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.